So a little game, a little pre-podcast game for you. Can you name the top 5 countries that have people that listen to this podcast that are not the United Kingdom?
Canada.
Oh, you're being too. Yeah.
No, Canada are so top 5 without the UK. So UK is top. So Canada are 7th.
Ireland.
No, not on the list.
Russia.
No, they are on there though. They're near the bottom.
I thought it'd be some sort of hacking factory had thought we were a possible risk.
Yeah. Spain.
No.
France.
I'm amazed that you're not going any English-speaking countries, but no, not France.
US.
US are number 3. 8% of our audience are from the United States.
Australia.
That's number 4. 4% from Australia.
Both of them.
Yeah.
New Zealand. Yeah.
3% are from New Zealand. Yeah. So who is our top non-UK country? Do you think?
South Africa.
No, not on this list.
Are they English speaking?
They're
Azerbaijan.
not.
They're
No.
not.
8% of our audience is from this country.
Woohoo! Check us out. We are the best.
Italy.
No.
Is it European? I can't be asked to this.
It is, yeah. Yeah, think Scandinavian.
Norway, Finland, Denmark, Sweden.
Denmark.
Iceland even.
8% of our audience is from Denmark.
Wow.
I'm on the Danes.
The other one, the 2% of our audience is from Belgium.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
who knew? Anyone speak any Danish?
No. Name a few. Who's famous from Denmark? Sandy Toksvig, Peter Schmeichel.
Oh, I do like
various
Sandy
other
Toksvig.
footballers.
Sandy Toksvig took over as I was very upset. Sandy Toksvig took over as Chancellor of my university the year after I left, so I missed out on my chance to shake her hand.
What do you think? She waited purposefully for you to leave, and then she thought, "Yeah, I'll then take up the post."
I think possibly. She took over from Sheila Hancock though, so I did get a congratulations from Sheila Hancock.
Just for your degree, or for anything specific, or just for generally in a bar.
Yeah. No, you.
Hello.
I met her. Yeah.
Hello, Sheila. These your dice.
Oh, I fell over. Cue music.
Sheila, do you roll?
That could be interpreted in a court of law, couldn't it?
It could.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we need to move on. Right, play the intro. There we are. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Dice Please, the bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by the people of Blood Bowl Live. My name is Chris. I am joined once again by Mr. Scott Bryant. Scott, what's your favourite vegetable?
Favorite vegetable is an onion.
Fantastic. And obviously joined once again by Mr. Tom Hovell. Tom, favourite vegetable?
Have to be potato.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, pretty boring choices from the pair of you.
It's versatile. It can be used in many.
If you're sort of going to drop that sort of stuff on us, then, let us know.
Okay.
'Cause
What's yours then?
I mean, I'm partial to a butternut squash.
Has its limitations.
There are things you could do with a butternut squash, but anyway, should we move on?
We shall. This week, we decided to ask the question and answer it. Why come up with content when you guys come up with it for us? We have gone through all of the podcasts we've done so far and all of the messages, comments that we've had from our fantastic audience. And we're going to go through some of them and see what you guys have been saying and answer some of the questions that you've got for us. Some of the podcasts, when I was going through and I was getting all the comments together, some of them got people quite irate at us for various things.
It's in a good, supportive, passionate, we are guys, you really, hit the nail on the head, or is it you don't know what the hell you're talking about type irate?
The big guy or no big guy episode got people quite quite opinionated towards us. So when we get to that, that's a big one. So we're going to go through. We're going to see what you guys have been saying, and before we do, obviously, a huge thank you to everyone who's kind of got in contact with us. It's great to have people engaging. So thank you very much. Let's start all the way back at episode 1. We did our very first league friendly stomp. And we had our very first message from James. Thank you, James. Brilliant first episode, lads. I have to agree with Chris's original lineup. Ogres for the league, friendly for goblins, and stomping on the dwarfs. I don't hate dwarfs and think they are essential to part of Blood Bowl. They just aren't a playstyle for me. Maybe I'll give them a go in another season. Quick question for the three of you. In view of all three of you really wanting to stomp on dwarfs, despite Chris changing his mind, which of you is the bashiest coach?
Ooh.
I'd probably say Tom.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
absolutely
Actually,
Tom, isn't it?
Well, you've got. I'm not. I'm squishy and edge.
No, it's
so
not you. Yeah, you are the squishiest coach, if that is a title.
And it has been said many times I am a sensitive soul, but yeah, that's the reason why. So you've got lizards.
Yeah.
So if your Crocs is not being crap, and
I guess they are quite bashy, aren't they?
They are.
You know, your Sauruses are quite bashy. As long as and then top. I think you're a one-trick bashy pony, if you don't mind me saying, Chris. And then I'd say Tom is a man for all bashy seasons. You know, Tom rocks that, and you know, and whatever's bashing the meta. So
I feel like
he's your man.
You've just created a T-shirt there, haven't you? That says "One Trick Bashy Pony" on the front and "Man for all bashy seasons" on the back.
I think. Can we trademark that? Can we get that?
Yeah, we'll trademark that.
I'll,
If we say it.
I'll Google it now.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tom, you've played orcs before.
Yeah.
You've got orcs. I think sometimes more our vampires
I
bashy.
definitely started off when I first started playing, and that's only a couple of years now. In fact, because I'm probably the newbie out of all of us. I did start to go with the bashy side of the team, the orcs. Black orcs I've played as well. And also vampires, which are fairly bashy, but that's when I started to learn that, you know, you can't really hit a lot of people and knock them all out. You have to start doing a bit of skills and agile stuff as well. So I'd probably say
vampires are so bashy; they like to bash themselves, though, Tom. So
that's true. Actually, I guess vampires can bash themselves more than any other team. So probably, in a way, are the bashiest of teams.
I've probably had more fatalities just by myself than anyone else.
Yeah. So for James Evening All, it's Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. Lovely. Thank you, James, for the question. Nobody commented on episode 2, so we'll go straight to episode 3, where we reviewed
what was episode 2.
I mean, you know, no one commented on it, and I can't remember it, so it was clearly
it's our
our
Fantasy
best
7
one.
league.
Oh, it was Fantasy Sevens. Okay.
That was a good one. That was.
That
We
was a
like
good
that.
one. I guess
Yeah.
I got some feedback on that before the episode launched because I asked some people what their kind of view would be. So we kind of included that then. Episode 3 was the FAQs. And I've got the book, I've got the rule book in front of me ready to argue against this point, and I would very much appreciate somebody clarifying for me what they think here. We had a comment from Justin with regards to Quizmaster Justin, as you will know him. With regards to tentacles, at time of replying, you cannot use tentacles to prevent a player following up on a block, nor can you stop them moving with hit and run. Now, I'm not aware that this has been FAQ'd, but I might be wrong. And the rule book says, and I have it in front of me, a player can use this skill when the opposing player they are marking voluntarily moves out of a square within the player's tackle zone. I would say if you are moving out, if you're following up from a block, or you're using hit and run, you are voluntarily moving out, and you should be able to use tentacles on that player.
I believe. Well, two things. One, I would ask the Nurgle expert, Mr. Scott Phipps, coach of Crady's himself. And I believe I think I've had this in a match before in my first season, because I think the Rogue frenzied. And I think it's that word voluntary. So unless that has been FAQ'd, I think if you're frenzy, I don't think tentacles happen a second time.
Yeah, maybe frenzy.
I've got the FAQ up. Okay.
Oh, here we go. Live. Come on, Tom.
So live, hot stuff. So on.
All right. Oh, thank you, honey. But, you know, we're on podcast
So,
now.
if a player uses the hit and run trait to move out of the tackle zone of a player with the tentacle skill, does the player with the tentacles get to use the skill? The answer is no.
That's so rubbish. What? It's a voluntary movement. That's such
So
a weird one.
So frenzy, hit and run. Anything else within voluntary movement?
Well, so then doing a block then would be the same because you're choosing because you don't have to use hit and run. You're choosing.
So again, it works for. So there's two other times that comes up. So the other two are if a player uses the ball and chain move special action and moves out of the tackle zone of a player with tentacle skill. Does the player with tentacles get to use the skill? Answer is no.
So ball and chain is not. You have to follow up. So that I understand. What's the next one?
The final one was the most recent thing with gnomes. When the player uses trickster trait, does the player being removed from the pitch and then placed again count as the player moving? Right, and then its answer is no. It is a placement, not a movement. As such, any rules that interact with the player moving, such as the shadowing or tentacle skills, will not come into effect.
So that again makes sense because, like, I feel like unless hit and run, because I get it with ball and chain, I get it with frenzy, I get it with trickster, but hit and run and following up after a block when you don't have frenzy are both voluntary movements. So I think you should have to be stuck in place.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, turns out I am wrong, but I'm still going to fight that one. I feel like they should change that. I don't like it. Let's move on. I'm gonna skip big guy or no big guy because there's lots of opinion on that one. I will come back to it. Tournament prep. James got back in touch with tournament prep. We asked people, what is your number one tip for tournament prep? And James's number one tip was double check your roster. So my question for you guys is, have you ever been caught out by not having your roster or having something in your roster that wasn't right and you had to change it last minute?
Practice game, yes. Tournament, no.
It's more the fact that I build the perfect list and then realise that other people build better lists than me.
Yours isn't I didn't check my roster. Yours is I built my roster and it was accidentally rubbish.
I built my roster on how well I think it's going to play, and then I realise other people have done better rosters than mine. Yeah.
It was a game we played against each other, wasn't it, Scott? Where we
I was trying to get a star player into an elf team, a wood elf team. And I was trying to get Jordal Fresh Breeze or the other guy, the Sea Elf guy, Mr. Edril Sidewinder in, but both of them cost a ridiculous amount of money, so it's not possible. Because of course you've got to take your 11 players first anyway.
That was the issue, wasn't it? You didn't have 11.
Oh, so you can do it, but you can't take 2 war dancers or key positionals. That's the problem, because even in the elf team, as people know, even if you've just got like 9 linemen, what's that, 630k. So you can do 850k if you 630 plus 250 for the 2 war dancers. Maths. So it doesn't leave you a lot if you want any re-rolls or anything. So you can do it, but you can't have a thrower or a catcher or not a lot else as well. So it's tricky.
So after our tournament, we asked people, what did you learn most from tournaments? Scott got in touch. I believe this is Scott Norman, a guest on another episode, different Scott. Got in touch and said that the thing that he learned most from tournaments is why goblins are the bottom of the rankings consistently, which is unfortunate learning from a tournament, that you learn why that team is so bad. Goblins at tournaments, have either of you guys played goblin teams at tournaments? Because I have, and I find that they can be really quite tricky when you've got like an increased amount of money to spend and skills to give. They can be a nuisance. I understand why they're still bottom, but they can be a pain.
Do you want to go first there, Tom?
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things that I've started to find out, that there's certain teams that are league teams and certain teams that are tournament teams. And I find that goblins are very much in the league side of things, where you can carry on playing them. Tournaments, I've found, the small amount that I've done, you go there with a kind of sort of way of how do you want to play this tournament? You know, are you going to play it to win the whole thing? Are you going to do it so you set yourself a goal and say like, I'm going to win one game or whatever? But yeah, when you go against like goblins or something, I think you really have to go into tournaments. Go, I'm just going to be an arsehole and just crack and just smash as many things, or just go in for fun. I don't
So are
think
you saying? Sorry, just to clarify, there, Tommy, you saying Scott Norman's an arsehole for taking goblins?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think he's just being just wanting to enjoy them, and it's one of those things we've learnt is that you go in with a view of like, I really want to enjoy them, and then things start to unfortunately fall apart, and they're one of those teams that can fall apart quite quickly.
Yeah.
And then you're at that point where you're like, don't want to play anymore.
I haven't played goblins, played snotlings, slightly similar because obviously snotlings still have the swarming. And yeah, it's just basically their cannon fodder plus big guys and star players, and that was it. So it was okay.
I wonder whether that's their problem in a tournament, is that when you go into a tournament, you have to you do all your roster and your star player picking beforehand. So in a league, you possibly would pick a different star player for each opponent because you would do it each time and you can kind of mold it a bit more. In a tournament, you've got to go, what is going to be my best attempt at a one size fits all, which could kind of get you in trouble.
You haven't got those kind of things, like you haven't got the likes of werewolves or war dancers or something that you go like, look, I can just do a Hail Mary and just leg it down the pitch and score with goblins, can you?
I guess you throw the goblin.
You can't even throw a goblin properly because they're so nerfed on that. You know, I've played against black orcs who've obviously got goblins in them, and the 2 times I played them, both times when they went to throw it, the goblin got eaten. So it's like,
yeah, you've got always hungry as well as really stupid, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for getting in touch, Scott, on that one. I think basically we agree with you. Goblins are rubbish. No, that's not going to go down well. Sorry, Scott.
But
apologies.
We wish, just to clarify, that we recognise their current meta rubbishness, but we wish they were better.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if they put fouling back to being the proper way, where you can foul and move away, we're back to
make them dirtier, and I think they'll get back in the limelight. Episode 7, we created our own star players with mixed success. I think that's probably the best way to say it. I've since come up with different star players with other skills, so I want to do that again. We're going to have to do that another time because I've come up. I've got some other great ones.
It's not like it's. Yeah, so can I just ask? They're not like just your Professor Plastic Man.
No, they're not.
Shape into other star players.
Me and a friend.
Rubber Ronnie. I don't know. Look, he changes into something else. Look, he changes into another thing.
I was messaging a friend of mine, and we were coming up with what would Olympians' star players' special skill be. And some of the ones we came up with, I was like, actually, that's a decent special skill. So that gave me some ideas for some star players. But the stars we came up with, Nick got in touch. Nick said he would take Tom's player, a goblin space cadet blazing on psychedelic mushrooms. What's not to like?
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a point. It was probably, I think in hindsight, it was the most rounded of all of them. So
it was going against with the goblins again. You see, it was trying to get them back up to that level.
I think it was a good one. Jane just enjoyed the fact that Scott, your player, had to roll for entitlement.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Well, episode 10, we talked about the roll off. What would be our alternatives? James got back in touch. Roll-offs are a sad way.
Does he not work? Is it the same James or another? Okay, I think. So I was going to say, does he not work?
I think he lives for this podcast. And
I can understand that. Yeah,
I mean, who doesn't?
Exactly.
Roll-offs are a sad way to end the game. My preferred way is just one extra half. Receiving team has to score. Kicking team either has to defend or score. Main criteria for extra time is to eliminate the possibility of a draw, but also to do it in a humane amount of time. I think that's a good point, and I think that's what my argument was trying to get on, that kind of American football style of, if you successfully defend, that's enough to win you the game. So I think that's good.
Fair enough.
One word, dance. That's all you need to know. That's all you need. That's all you need. Throw in some shapes.
I was thinking the first person who buys the most stuff in Scott's shop wins.
He probably like that, yeah. But
Daryl also got in touch for that episode and said bare knuckles in a skip. I second this.
yeah.
So
There you
Daryl was absolutely on board with bare knuckle fighting in a skip. Episode 11, we did League Friendly Stomp again, and I shared my already well-known dislike for Old World Alliance, and we talked about all those teams. Pat got in touch. Hi, Pat.
Evening,
My
Patrick.
second Blood Bowl team was Chaos Dwarfs back in the early 90s. It took me a long time to get them to work for me, even if everyone told me that they had potential. So if you want, sticking with OWA may get you there. I'm not going to stick with OWA. I was writing that comment on my little sheet of comments, so I had it and even just writing down sticking with OWA made me sad.
Did that make you sad or angry, Chris? Or both?
Sad.
Oh dear. Just giving up now.
The problem is, if I win my game on Friday, I then have to play 2 more games because I've got at least a semi-final and then either a final or a third place playoff. So the pain just keeps going.
May I just request that if this is what I'd like to see, because I know how much your love of OWA seems to diminish every moment that you are their coach. I hope that it's a draw and you have to go to extra time as well, and then another roll off.
I was talking today about it, and if I go to a roll off and win the roll off, I will have made it to the semi-finals while not technically winning a single game in the entire season, which would be quite a feat. Thank you, Pat. I do agree that sometimes you need to stick with the team. I won't be sticking with OWA. We'll jump back to episode 4 now. To big guy or not to big guy, we had lots of people who were getting involved in this one about their opinions on big guys. Luke got in touch. Hello, Luke. I, like Chris, love quality big guys. That's a
So was that just someone saying I like Chris?
I, like Chris.
Oh, cool. Just
love quality big guys.
You can't get all your friends on here just to buff the numbers up and just like say how much they love you and we love Chris.
I like Chris, big guys.
Rot Spawn is currently favourite, closely followed by the Rat Ogre. Favourite thing about the big guys is the chaos they cause, the most important stat of all in Blood Bowl, which is a good point. I don't know. I like a consistent big guy, but the ones that are quite chaotic do create for a bit more drama and entertainment. He's got a point.
Very much so, yeah.
Justin got in touch.
Do you mean Quizmaster Justin?
Yeah, Quizmaster Justin. Minotaur has strength 5. I think we were sort of... Now, I'll be honest. I think we did downplay the Minotaur a bit. And I have since come round to the Minotaur since that episode. I'm now using it quite a bit. I've used it in 7s quite a lot. I really like it now. Justin said, Minotaur's strength 5 with horns. So blitzing on a 6+ means that he can blitz a standard big guy with 2 dice. Which is a good point. That like if it's big guy v big guy and you're using the blitz on the Minotaur, you're in a pretty good position to try and take that big guy out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. If you had a Minotaur in the Old World Alliance, would you carry on playing them?
Minotaur can't throw a teammate.
But Tom, he paused.
He did. He saw that
tape. He's like thinking, yeah.
I slammed that OWA door and you just helped me pry it open just a little bit. Justin also said, now, Tom, we can put the blame at your door here as our resident vampire expert. We were forgetting the Vargeist Bloodlust is that it's a 3+ to move, but only a 2+ to block or blitz. The whole point of it is to be blocking and blitzing with it, so it operates as a standard big guy. So it's just a 2+ rather than a 3+ on your Bloodlust. Does it change your opinion of it at all?
No, because it's an interesting one. Because when we played, and that was the first time I played by Vargeist, once you knocked it down, I would have to use it to blitz just to get it back up and move it, or give it that slim chance of getting it back up.
Yeah.
That was the problem, wasn't it? And the
What's
fact
the
is, all you need to do is
movement?
just stick a lineman next to it, and you just go, well, there you go. I've now negated all your blitzers on any of my other players if you want to get your player up or risk trying to get up on a 3+.
But you can still, you could still get up on that 3+ if you were just willing to punch a thrall, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But the fact was that if you stick a line, if you as the opponent stick a lineman next to the thrall, I then have to put a thrall right next to you, next to my Vargeist, or else I could say, if I wanted to move away, I'd then have to dodge out. I don't know, I can't remember what the agility is of a Vargeist, but I've
Yeah,
then
it
got to
still makes it
dodge out.
tricky.
Yeah, it's even more dice rolls than it already has enough dice rolls in the vampire team. But I have seen, again, I played against vampires in a tournament with my necromantic horror, and again it just fell over, and I just stuck a zombie next to it, and it just ran around the pitch, and he couldn't do anything. And even when he said, "Oh, I'm just going to blitz it," he rolled a 1. So it's the fate.
Yeah, it still doesn't make me any more sold on the Vargeist, I think. But then I'm not sold on vampires in general. I got a vampire team recently, and I traded it for an Imperial nobility because I don't think I'll ever use them.
God, that's going from bad to worse.
That's just like, yeah.
But then I've since spoken to a friend of mine who currently plays Imperial nobility, and I asked him how he was getting on with them, and he said that they're painfully inconsistent. So, but
you went Old World Alliance, hold mine.
Yeah. Pat got in touch in our To Big Guy or Not Big Guy episode. For me, a lot hinges on how well they can operate without rerolls. I am nearly allergic to loner, so a big guy needs to be able to afford pro and still operate. Obviously, this means star players really need to have a complete package before I am particularly enthused. Yeah, because I was thinking this earlier. Actually, I was talking to someone about kind of what skills to pick, and pro in particular as a skill, and whether pro is better than leader in some cases. Because for a vampire team, for example, if you've got one player with leader, then that's one reroll for everybody, but only once per half. If you've got if all of your vampires have pro, every single vampire has got if you'd get the 3+, a reroll on their bloodlust, which feels like a better kind of option than leader.
So let's run through that scenario. You move on a 2+. So you fail bloodlust on a 2+, say on like a thrower or a runner. Okay. Yeah. So you roll a 1. Then what you got to do, you've got to roll a 3+ to say my pro works, and then you got to roll a 2 up again.
Yeah.
So it's 3 dice rolls. Okay.
But you get that on every turn, whereas leader you would burn once for your half.
Well, that's interesting.
But I think he's right. Big guy wise, I think most big guys come with loner. So
player. I think most star players with loner 4 up. Pro is an absolute gimme in it. But any big guy, because not all star players have pro. Helmut Wolf does, doesn't he? He's got pro.
It's the like the ogre team, because none of those ogres have loner. So, but they all have bonehead. So if they were to have pro, but if you've got enough to be able to choose pro, then you want to be choosing block or dodge, or you want to be choosing a different secondary. You don't want to be choosing pro, really. So
apart from the ogres and the ogre team, do all the other big guys, standard big guys, I'm not talking about star players, do they all have a loner?
Do some of the trees not have loner?
I wonder whether
I've got a feeling one of the trees doesn't.
I think gnomes or halflings don't have it. Elves certainly do. What else have loner? Roger has loner, but then the Roger activation is slightly different. So, for example, with the Roger, even if you fail animal savagery and you punch a rat, you can still do your activation.
So, it's the bonehead that's the problem, isn't it? So with the trees, well, I guess if trees have loner, but trees' negatrait is take root, which when you're in a bit of a scrum isn't as horrendous. If you fail it again, it doesn't stop you doing anything. It's the bonehead that's, I guess, the problem.
So looking down the list, let me just finally check Yeah, so the two that have the ones that have trees, the two that do have loner are Wood Elf and
Yeah.
Old World Alliance. So
Hey.
But
the rest of them
pro,
don't.
because pro is a general skill, and a lot of the time, I don't know how many big guys can have
But
general skills as primary. So trees, it's
trees are
secondary.
strength. Trees are strength, aren't they? There's their
Yeah,
primary.
Yeah,
ogres are secondary as well. So even Croxagores secondary. Um, the ogres in the ogre team secondary. Rotspawn secondary. So getting pro on there, you're earning enough SPP, but you're burning your chance to have block or something similar, which is
Yeah.
probably going to be better. But I guess if you wanted to random, if you got a random secondary and you wanted to risk it and you ended up with pro, maybe that's not awful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Pat. Lastly, on the big guy front, Daryl got in touch. Hello, Daryl.
Even Daryl.
I think you guys missed a trick with the Yeti and Bloodspawn. Unchanneled Fury means on a failed roll, they still keep a tackle zone, so they are still a threat and something to worry about. Same with the Minotaur. I've played against the Bloodspawn a few times, and I bloody hate it. Frenzy pretty much makes sure they will be putting you down with the claws/mighty blow combo. It's ruthless. I think that's a good point because they do have both. So depending on what you're up against, you've got a real strong chance of going down. So yeah, I think he's right. I still don't rate the Yeti.
yeah, because obviously with the rock spawn, you've also got tentacles. So if you go, say you're next to the player and say, right, I'm going to block with the rock spawn and get failure on Channel Fury, you've still got that added advantage that your tackle zones aren't diminished, and if they try and move that player, you've got tentacles, so you can hold on to them for another time.
Question then, gents. If you are not allowed to take your own preferential big guy, so Tom, no ogre for you, Chris, no minotaur for you, because he seems to be your new favourite one anyway, and no roger for me, who would be your next in line go-to big guy, irrespective of team? Who's the big guy who you feel most attracted to? So
I will.
Don't please misinterpret that and put that on the t-shirt. But there you go.
I will.
Who's your big guy?
I will also not pick Croxagore. Just like I won't pick Croxagore or Minotaur because they're both. I'm enjoying both of them. I think for me, I mean, it's the boring choice, but I think it is just the standard ogre. It's Negatrait is Bonehead, which isn't ideal. You've got a throw teammate option if you have a team that suits it. The mighty blow is good. The thick skull is like it is pretty kind of bang on average for a big guy. It doesn't really have any bells and whistles, but I think it's probably my favorite.
Tom,
I'd quite like to try out the actual treatment with like a halfling team. So I quite like the idea of them. They seem to be quite impenetrable kind of things that you can stick in the middle and just mess around with people. And also you can take more than one in those teams as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I think I'd just go for the blood spawn because I think when they activate, I just think Carnage Incarnate is a very funny thing. That would be definitely mine.
Our last comment then to go through is from Harry. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Harry.
Harry sent us a lot more detail than what I've got here, and I think actually we could probably do almost an entire episode on what Harry has sent us. So, Harry, we will possibly get to that another day. But message we got from Harry: Hey guys, it's Harry, that known player two of you battered at Alpha Games Summer Blood Bowl. Just writing in to say that I've really enjoyed all the episodes of your podcast. I listened to most of them on the drive home from the event and caught up with the rest later. Appreciate the shout out in the latest episode. I have a question. I'm attending After Bowl tournament in Norwich, which is in a couple of weeks' time. Actually, it's not very far away. It's a 1,200 gold event. However, I have no idea what to bring. I really enjoyed my Summer Bowl event, but I would rather not get completely stomped 3-0 again. I would love to get some input on what to bring and why, including the teams I'm thinking of getting next. So Harry said some of the teams he's already got are Underworld, Ogres, Gnomes, Chaos Renegade, and he was tempted by a Lizardman team. So, if there was a team that you think Harry should play next, what would it be? I'll go first. He said he's tempted by lizards, and I think that in a tournament setting with a good tournament budget, which this is, and a good tournament rule set, which I know that After Bowl is, because I've been last year to After Bowl, that lizards give you a good strong front, give you some good agility to sort of play around with, and I think they can be quite a kind of stable team. And I think after playing something like gnomes, which I think can be quite unstable and you can be easily prone to a bit of destruction, lizards are a little bit more resilient, but also you can do some fun dodging with stunty skinks you've got in there. And you can go quite basic and simple with the rule set and have a very strong lineup. So I think they're sort of not overly complicated, don't take a lot of sort of necessarily too much thought, and can be sort of consistently fun and allow you to play either defensive or like Ambashi or agile, depending on how you want to play them. So I think they're quite versatile as well. So I would be tempted by lizards. Scott, what are you thinking?
Gnomes, no. I
Agreed.
think gnomes are in a place. Gnomes need something to elevate them and give them something in terms of a USP. Whether or not that's a third tree would be something to think about. Maybe at least a couple of their players having dodge or something else inbuilt to them, not just tackle. So gnomes, no. I agree with what you said. Oh, why do I agree with what you said? But I do agree with what you said, Chris, about lizards. Although it depends how you. Would I run them with Crocs, without Crocs? Yeah, I probably would run them with Crocs and all the Sauruses. And I think you can do some good stuff, particularly with on the ball with your chameleon and everything. So they're very well balanced team, to use the phrase. What were the other two? It was Chaos, I believe, wasn't it? Chaos Chosen?
He has Chaos Renegade, and he has Ogres, and he has Underworld.
Of those, personally, I would do Chaos Renegades, because obviously you can mix and match with them quite nicely as well, and you can take 3 big guys, which is always entertaining. And then I would do, I'd leave it at that. I wouldn't want to go down the road of, but then Renegades can be a bit complicated. Have something, get familiar, get simple, keep it simple, and play with a good structure. So I hate agreeing with Christopher, but there you go. I'd go for Lizardman as well.
Tom?
Don't look so happy. Don't look so happy.
I think I can bring you round to playing lizards, Scott. I'll be honest. I think I can. I think the agility is there. I think if you get killed enough with your elves on one day, I think I could bring you round to them. So, Tom, what would be your suggestion?
So I can take on board what Scott was saying there. You want to have a relatively fun time. You want to be able to score and maybe do a bit of kind of a couple of Hail Marys and stuff like that. Plus, you want a bit of bash in there as well.
Why do you want a couple of Hail Marys?
Well,
we know that Tom loves the throwing to no one trait.
Yeah,
the classic Hobbit. Of course, he loves a couple of Hail Marys.
For anyone who wants to know, my secret trait is if I find that I'm down in the back of my half with everyone over in my half, and I get the ball, I'll just lob it to the furthest point on the other side of the half, and then that's a running race to the other side.
And sometimes it works. It's frustrating as hell.
It does. It's fantastic. It's like when people go, you can do that, but why would you?
Why would you?
Because I want to see the look on your face. Anyway,
you are a rebel, Tom, aren't you?
But my answer to this would be Amazon's. So for that amount of money you've got there, you can get yourself 11 players. So that is 2 Piranha Blitzers, 2 Jaguar Blockers, strength 4, Piranha Thrower, Python Thrower, and then the rest are Line Women. All of those have got dodge. You've got the hit and run with the Blitzers. You've got jump up with the blitzers. You've got that defensive and dodge with the blockers, which in a tournament, 9 times out of 10, someone you're going to play against has got guard in their front lineup. So it gets rid of that guard straight away. Then you've got 2 rerolls as well. In addition, you can also get Glottal Stop. So Glottal Stop, who is the star player, has Animal Savagery, Frenzy, Loner obviously 4+, Mighty Blow +1, Prehensile Tail, Stand Firm, Thick Skull, and Primal Savagery. So the Primal Savagery is basically Primal Savagery will kick in once per game when Glottal fails an Animal Savagery roll. It may lash out at an opposition player rather than a teammate. So that can be quite fun as well.
Is he strength 5?
He is strength 6. Movement 6.
Wow.
Also
Movement
gives the
6.
Amazons, because the Amazons don't have a big guy, do they? A go-to, so it gives them that option.
He's their big guy. So star player, big guy. He can play for them. So you got movement 6, strength 6, agility 5. Yeah, okay. Armor 10.
What's his cost, Tom?
His cost is 270.
It's expensive, but it's not bad, is it?
You have 30 left over. You have 30.
Which I would recommend going on a mascot. It's a 5 or 6 to get a reroll, and if it fails, you can use the team reroll. And I stand by it's a really good. If you've got that 30, there's not many other things you get for that, and I think I stand by that it's a really good option because you don't lose. Yeah, you might benefit from the right kickoff event to take a coach or something like that, but you don't lose anything if you fail that 5 up. Then you can still use the team reroll, so you haven't wasted any chance to reroll. So that if you've got 30 left, I would go for it.
Yeah, and then I don't know with After Bowl how they handle additional skills or anything, and whether you need any treasury for your skills.
No, it'll be skill points.
So yeah, so that you got some nice things because your blitzers have got AG, your blockers have got GS, so they've got strength. They can get some of the strength skills in there. So again, they could have Mighty Blow. You could put a couple of Mighty Blow Jaguar blockers in there. So +1, strength 4. So something quite different, I think.
Sorry, I didn't even realise Amazon were on his list.
No, they weren't. Tom's just gone off.
Choose my list.
Down to Artbox and Dragons and
buy yourself like Tom does. First in the meta, I'll buy a team. Yay!
Tom's just gone. I hear what you've got. I hear what you're saying, but shut up and do this.
Buy a team.
Would you like to buy mine? It's up here.
Thank you very much, Harry, and good luck at After Bowl. Let us know how you get on and what team you take. I think the rosters have to be in by the 11th, so we might have missed the boat. But he's got 11 days to get his roster in, so we'll see. So let us know what you choose and how it goes.
He'll be on Prime tonight. Give me an Amazon team, quick.
I'm sure there's a hidden joke and pun in there, Scott, but I don't know whether I missed it because he's on Prime and he's buying an Amazon team. So thank you everyone who has commented and got in touch with us. There may be some odd comments that we didn't read out. Apologies for that. I think we did read out a comment from pretty much everyone who got in touch with us at some point. So thank you all for getting involved. We'll absolutely do another one of these at some point in the future when we've got more comments in, because it's nice to see what other people are saying. The only other comment that I will say that we got was off the back of our tournament review when we all went to Alpha. The Alpha tournament was from Phil, which says bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast, and proceeds to release the longest podcast yet. Looking at how long we've been recording from, this could just about be longer. But hey, I still think we're probably bite-sized compared to lots of others. So I'll hang on to the claim. Yeah, it's a summer special. If you want to get in touch, if you want to tell us how we're doing, or give us a suggestion for the future, or if you want to tell us that our selection for League Friendly Stomp was completely incorrect, or anything else, any other way you want to get involved, Scott, how do people get involved and how do people contact us?
If people want to get involved, if they want to contact us with any thoughts, observations, feedback, general comments, hopefully all Blood Bowl related, but we are open to opinions on anything else as well that we may or may not agree with. They can get hold of us by emailing us at newdiceplease@gmail.com. So all one word, all lowercase, newdiceplease@gmail.com. You can even talk about dogs barking in the background there. How very excitable they are.
I've muted myself on the recording, so hopefully you can't hear them. Stephen has clearly seen something in the garden that he is absolutely obsessed with, and Emily is choosing to do absolutely nothing about it. So we're having a good time. Tom, if people want to see what else we do, people want to see anything else that we put out there, how do they get in touch? I'm going to mute myself again.
Yeah, absolutely. So we play down at Aardvarks and Dragons in Woodbridge, and we sometimes kind of video and stream them. So we stream them all on Blood Bowl Live. So if you go to Twitch, we're on Blood Bowl Live there. On YouTube, it's Blood Bowl Live. And sometimes we even do stuff on Instagram. And I think you're actually starting to do the 5-second run-throughs on there.
I mean, if I did them in 5 seconds, that would be. I will try a 5-second one. I mean, if I have a look at the game that happened today and I sum it up in 5 seconds, Undead won, Ogres lost, game over. That's probably it. Yes, we have started doing this again.
It's nice to see that you're on the ball, Tom, and you're paying attention to what Chris is doing. Like everybody, Chris has done something. Yeah, let's move on.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here once again. Thank you, everybody, for listening. My dog is very clearly telling me that it is time for us to wrap up. So thank you for listening. We have been New Dice Please, and we will see you next time.